They want to get my gold on the ceiling. I ain't blind. Just a matter of time before they steal it. It's all right. Ain't no catching my high. And
No, man, that was great.
I think I got it wrong at the end, but hey.
No, man, you did it perfect. Are the Black Keys still together?
Yeah, I think so. I think
Do they have any albums coming out or what?
I think they put one out last year. I think it was.
Oh, man, I'm so disconnected from music, man. It's hard for me to just like get absorbed to a song these days, right?
Well, yeah, like you have so much going on, man. It's.
I like listening to music. I don't like listening to radio. I can't tell you the last time I heard radio, man.
Yeah.
I don't understand, but
yeah, like for me, it's just like satellite radio or just like podcasts, audiobooks, and
And that's it, man.
Yeah.
So, Rob, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I know it's a long
Thank
time
you,
coming, man. I've been trying to. When was the last time I saw you? Last year?
Yeah, we went up flying together.
Yeah,
and,
we took off. Yeah.
Yeah. It's an honor to be here. Like I
Thanks,
I really do appreciate it, and it's an honor.
It's been a while since we had a drywall guy on the show.
Yeah, you had a guy it was a few years ago. I think he was from like Kitchener, Waterloo, or Guelph.
Teddy.
Yes.
Yeah, totally. He's I think he's still doing drywall. He listens, so he's probably totally going, yeah, you're talking about me, man. But he's teaching too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so he's actually in one of the schools out that in Kitchener-Waterloo area, and he's, he does, that was a fun show.
That seems like the way to go. Like it's either, because it's tough to be on the tools forever, right?
You can't. Tradespeople can't.
Yeah.
You're planning your exit? You're too young to plan your exit. Man.
I wanted to do the pilot thing.
I know, and that's interesting, right? So I want everybody to know that we're going to talk drywall. Obviously, we're going to talk, you're a business owner as well. But then during the pandemic, you got how many licenses for flying? Yeah,
I got my PPL, so my private license, and then my CPL, the commercial. And like I wanted to get into that. I wanted to do that as a career, but it's like I have so much respect for the guys that like push through it, because starting off it's just poverty wages.
It is.
Yeah.
And even now in Canada.
Especially now, yeah.
Yeah. It's not that bad. I mean, you're making more money drywalling.
Oh, yeah. Even if I worked for another company. Yeah. So it's just like.
So let me do the deets here. I want to do first shout out to Bryant. I got his T-shirt, Target Contracting, so plumbing. Thanks so much for the tee. Fits perfectly. But I got Rob Rosati. It's Rosati, right?
Yep.
Rosati, and it's RA Rosati Drywall Inc. And his email or his website is www.rosatidrywall.com. His phone number is 647-218-1168. And his email is rosatidrywall@hotmail.com. And on IG, it's Rosati Drywall. You ain't spending that much time on social these days, eh?
No, I try not to. Yeah.
You know what? You're not the only one. I've toned down lots of people. I was actually talking to Jason recently. He listens too, and he was like, "Listen, man, I'm just trying to disconnect, focus more on my family. I want to just focus on more good things." And I'm like, "Stay the path, man."
Yeah, yeah. Like I've got a few core clients that we work with, and I'm happy with them. They're great, and they give us a ton of work. And it's like, I don't feel the need to. Like it'd be nice to have like a couple extra, but like I'm pretty good where I'm at. I'm comfortable. I'm happy.
How many years in the business now?
Started in 2008, the business.
Okay.
And I started taping in 2006. So
working with, was it your uncle? No.
Yeah. Like it was my mom's cousin. So he's like an uncle pretty much, but he taught me the trade, and he taught me well. Like his main thing was just be clean. Whatever you do, just be clean. Don't throw mud on the floor. Like, don't drop anything. Don't leave anything behind. Just like cleanliness.
So how do you learn that skill?
Just getting yelled at.
Because I remember when I first started, and I never got to your level. I dropped, man.
Yeah.
You just drop, and you're working with somebody. You just drop, right? You're constantly dropping. Then you're taught that that's money that you drop in there.
Yeah. I remember the first job that we ever did for you guys. It was like Alan and Lawrence.
Yeah. North York area, yeah.
Yeah. And then you had us leave out one bathroom because you guys wanted to tape it. And you guys did like a nice job, And I was surprised.
Were you being nice or what?
No, we looked at it. We're like, damn, like this is like.
Why did I'm trying? Oh no, we left it out because we actually wanted to roll some video on it and shoot it a certain way, and that was it. So that was the reason why.
Yeah.
But I mean, we didn't have the tools that you guys had, and that's back in the day before everybody has all these tools nowadays. Mm-hmm. Like your arsenal of tools is insane. What's going on, right?
Yeah, and some guys have like just wilder tools. Like, but
do you need them, Rob? Like, do you need all these bells and whistles? I don't know. Do you? Like, I see a lot of you guys with all these fancy tools, man.
Like, if I'm if I'm being honest, it's an old school mentality to think like, oh, I don't need these new tools. And I still subscribe to that. It's like, like the tools that I have, they work well for me and I don't need them. But logically it's like, okay, like things advance and like, you know, there's like faster ways to do it. But, you know, I'm pretty like set in my ways with the tools I use, but I get a decent result.
But you're not slowing things down.
No.
Right? So if you're delivering on what you are selling to your clients, then do you really need to reinvent the wheel?
No, but
not really.
Yeah, no. There's like, and like you've probably seen the like the DeWalt sand, like the Festool. You remember the Festool?
Yeah. I remember that when it first came out. I was actually showing it to you, and then we were doing it, and I was like, the ceiling was a pain in the ass to do it.
The guy that demoed it didn't know what he was doing.
He kept on gouging the ceiling, and I was like, you know, it takes a little bit of time to learn how to do that. And it does. It takes some skill, right? Yeah,
there's a pretty big learning curve with it. And the thing that I found too is like I would go back and look at guys' work that used it, and there were swirl marks, and that's okay. The thing is, I don't know, it just wasn't my preference. So like if you have light coming in at a certain angle, I try to sand it in that direction so that the light doesn't pick up on those shadows. But with you know, a circular power sander, when the light hits that, you'll still see it. You'll still see it. Like it's not the worst thing, but it's just my preference and it's just my style.
But not a lot of people are paying attention to Mother Nature putting a light on the work, right? And you gotta do that because a lot of people buy these houses with massive windows and bigger openings and lots of sunlight's coming in. Yeah,
and you're not always gonna get, like, while you're working on the site, it's like from, you know, 6 to 6 o'clock, let's say. You're not gonna get the same kind of lighting that you would, the lighting conditions that you would get at other hours, you know, or like at other times of the year. It's gonna be different in the summer than the winter.
So, Rob, I mean, it's like your trade, you've perfected it now, right? So you've got a groove going on into it, so you know what to do, you know what's involved and delivering what you're going to deliver for your clients, right? And I'm just trying to figure out, I mean, there's not a massive amount of markup, or is there markup a lot on doing the job itself, the trade itself?
It depends. Just depends on the job, depends who you're dealing with. Yeah, I think the markup's a lot lower than other trades.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to compare to, right? So like other trades will, listen, man, the top three, they're all money-making trades, like, you know, HVAC, electrical, plumbing.
Exactly, yeah.
They have a set price. That's the price they go in, and then they make a lot of money off of that. You guys have a scope. You have so many sheets, so many boards to install. You've got so many joints to do. You've got whatever. Maybe there's some ceiling treatments. Maybe there's some, I don't know, some details, accents, or what have you. Yeah. And that just costs you certain money. But the thing is, like, it doesn't feel like you guys make the same profit margin as other trades. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think so. I haven't spoken to too many other trades about that, but it feels. I think it has a lot to do with the barrier to entry, right? Like when I learned how to tape, it wasn't like a formal way. There is like a formal path to get into it. Okay. But the way I learned was very informal. Like I was lucky to have a great teacher, but you know, with electrical, like there's like a certain path, right? Yeah. And plumbing, you got to get your red seal and all that and build up the hours, right?
So how is it for a new kid? I know you mentioned off mic before we just got started that your younger brother is actually just getting into it. So he has you as your mentor, right? As his mentor to learn, right? So you're teaching him what you taught and what you've learned over the years, right? Yeah. How is he absorbing that?
He's doing well. Like I'm really proud of him actually, because I had him work for me years ago when he was a teenager, and like he struggled with it. He was a kid, you know, it was tough. And now he's going and he's focusing, he's putting in his best effort, and he'll come to me with questions, and he's clean too. Like I don't even have to tell him, but he doesn't drop shit. So it's nice.
So what's the art to not dropping shit? It's just knowing, understanding the mud?
Yeah. And just caring. Like I've seen guys where like I'd have to go in and clean up, and I would spend 2 hours like scraping up the floor, man. And it was just insane.
Just extra work,
just so much extra work. And it's like, it takes you time to throw mud on the floor instead of just, you know what I mean? Like you're wasting time.
So. Yeah, it's basically more effort to do that, man.
Yeah.
You're only supposed to tackle walls and ceiling.
Not the floor.
Not the floor. That's someone else's trade.
That's a different job. What do you think is the you're gonna maybe alienate some people. What do you think is the hardest Trade. Or actually, you know what? The easiest. Let's say the easiest first.
You know what? That's actually really interesting. I've always said they're all important.
Yeah.
Right? No one is more important than other.
Wow.
Mind you, drywall guys feel like they're the most important.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, so which one is the easiest trade out there? I would say, okay, it's kind of a loaded question because easiest to make money.
Physically easy. Like they go home.
Physically easy to make money, plumber.
For money. Okay, money-wise, that's like they're making
For
bank.
what they're doing and how much money they're making for what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think plumber.
Okay.
I think painter maybe is up there as well too.
Like money-wise.
Money-wise, right?
Yeah.
So it's like if you know what you're doing, you can do the job, but it's only as good as the taper and the mutter that left them that job, and then they've got to prep it, right?
Yeah.
But I definitely would say plumbing was probably the easiest, but you need to know your skills.
True.
If you don't know your shit, then you're just going to create chaos at that point. I'm talking about, in all fairness, let's go even keel on everybody. They all know their skills.
Okay.
I would say plumber is the easiest. And I think the most difficult, it goes back to seasonal. And I would probably have to say foundation.
Yeah.
That's a hard trade if you're working in extreme heats and you're working in extreme colds.
That's true. Yeah.
You're being paid the same dollar value and you're working in an extreme climate to do that job and you're in mud all the time. Weather's always fighting you. I mean, like concrete foundation, bricklaying is up there. Roofing is up there as most difficult. Easiest, I would say plumbing, painting. Who else is easy? What are your thoughts?
See, I thought it was electrical. I thought they had a pretty, like they could go home at the end of the day and, you know, like run a marathon if they wanted, you know, like.
So you're talking physical wise?
Yeah, just like they go home and
they got 4-foot ladders, man. Like they don't buy any other ladders unless they've got a big job, right?
Yeah.
So it's always 4-foot ladders. 4-foot ladders like carrying nothing. It's like carrying a feather, right? Compared to other ladders.
Yeah, and I guess like if they're, I mean, I guess the worst would be just carrying on BX wire, right? That would probably be the heaviest.
Commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it's an interesting question. Who's got it the easiest?
Yeah.
I don't know. Some people would say drywall, but depends on what you're hanging. What if you got curves or stuff?
Installer, man, I think, because like, so yeah, I'm a taper obviously, but I know how to install. Like I've worked with some guys that they kind of like taught me a bit, and then I learned the rest on my own. So I'm not like a professional installer. I know how it works, but anytime I've installed like just like a simple, easy job, like a basement, like less than 8-foot ceilings, you don't have to go up on a bench.
You fly.
But like after 5-6 hours, I'm destroyed. I'm ruined. I could tape for like 12-13 hours. And
so you're talking more like how defeated you are physically after you do the trade.
And mentally too, you know, that's like a big part of it, right?
A lot of responsibility attached to electricians though.
Yeah.
Again, if you mess up, you're possibly catching a fire, right? Like
and tearing out walls and pay the taper.
So I mean, it's really interesting. Who is the easiest? I don't know. There's stress attached to installing slabs, right?
Yeah.
But that goes, I guess, with kitchen, and kitchen is relative. I wouldn't say it's easy. You need to know what you're doing as well too.
Yeah.
I don't know. It depends on. I mean, I see really skilled trades, and they make it look easy, right? But I still remember that plumbers, and you're right, electricians, HVAC, they always got a smile on their face, and they're not heavy breathing. You guys, shoulders are killing sometimes.
Yeah.
Legs are killing from going up and down stilts.
Yeah.
Right. And I go back to exterior. So hardscaping, foundation, bricky, like that's physically beating up on your body, right?
Yeah.
Plus weather.
Yeah. And I wonder like if there are stats out there on just the trades, like who retires sooner versus later. Because that would probably be like a pretty good indicator of.
That's a good point. A lot of GCs keep on GCing all the way until their 60s and 70s, but that's when they get onto the paper instead of being on the tools.
Yeah. Yeah.
But bricklayers and foundation guys, it's very rare that you see. You know what you can do is you literally just look around.
Yeah.
And a lot of, I guess, you guys, you know, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, they're all guys in their 30s and 40s, and I don't see much 50, 60, 70-year-old guys that way. But you see a lot of 70-year-old GCs.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't see much brick, concrete roofers. You see a lot of the younger guys. That's taking a toll too, roofers.
Yeah, I thought roofing would probably be one of the hardest. It's
seasonal again.
Exactly.
And ladders. Every day you're climbing a ladder.
Yeah, and you're just on a hot roof. Like,
Yeah,
oh, man.
and you're carrying stuff up the roof, safety lines.
Yeah, like it's nice to be on a beach in Mexico, just like melting in the sun, but it's different on a roof. It's different on a roof.
100% different.
Yeah.
Plus, you're working the whole time. Yeah, you're right. So at the end of the day, who's the most beat up?
Mm-hmm.
I think the electricians are nice and clean, hopping into the car, going home casually on cruise control.
Yeah. Just
you guys got to change. You know, you got droppings all over your clothing, right? So and sanding if you're sanding.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think tapers have the hardest. It's not easy, but it's not like, you know, it's not like bricklayers or roofers. That's like, man.
Send your letters to me. I won't read them. It's just that simple, man. I don't know if people disagree or maybe they agree. I have a respect for all of them. But yeah, I think all of them are hard at some times, but there are some that are easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, you're probably going to get some flack.
I
but,
don't
you
give
know,
a shit.
It is what it is.
I'm way too old for that, so it's fine. I don't care. So your younger brother's doing well. He's enjoying it. Was he ever thinking he was going to get into that trade?
No.
What was he? What were the ambitions?
I feel like most people don't think about like
trade.
Well, taping as I want to be a taper for a living, you know. Like, who wants it?
So it's funny that you say that, but then you guys all say that you guys are the most important trade on this job site. So you guys take a lot of pride in the work that you do.
I don't think we're the most important trade. Like, if I'm being honest, you know what? When I talk to people, though, we are the most important trade.
Just leave it at you guys are the most important trade. Just leave it at that, right?
Yeah.
I just find that there's a lot of pride shared between drywall taper guys.
Yeah,
they love showing that stuff off, right?
Yeah, because it's like it's an art.
It is.
Yeah.
But are they showing off more the work or the tools? That's why I go back to the box of tools. I mean, I walk into certain stores, suppliers.
Yeah.
Am I walking into Tiffany's jewelry? Like, what's going on here?
Nice. Some of them are nice.
Like the cases, the showcases are backlit and glistening, and I could just picture the staff there with a Swifter cleaning everything off and making it beautiful.
Dude, when I go to these places, I'm like, I got to just spend $5,000 on all these machines right now.
You walk in and you almost don't want to touch them or get them dirty or use them. You just want to have them.
Yeah. Yeah, they present them so well too. It's just like you said, like backlighting and everything. They polish it. They got like a little dude in the back. Every morning he goes out there 3 a.m.
Cleans it up. Make sure it's all beautiful for everyone that shows up, because you guys are always showing up at 7 o'clock in the morning to get everything ready for the job, right?
Yeah.
It's funny, but I just see like there's a lot of tools in your arsenal, and it's like it's kind of good that you only expand when you need to expand. Mm-hmm. You don't expand because you're being pressured. You know what I mean? It's not like construction peer pressure to expand. And I find that a lot of people that are on social media trying to keep up with the hype, they got to kind of buy into that pressure to say, I've got the latest and greatest, so I'm going to use it on this job site, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I go back to the work. I'd rather see the work. Does the work look good? If you're using just a knife, then it looks good.
Yeah. Well, like, a lot of my machines, pretty much all my machines, they're old now. Like, I bought them, when I went on my own. I started work, like I left working with my cousin. I stopped working with him. I went with a union company for a bit. And at that point, I was like, okay, I got to get some of my own machines and stuff. So that was like back in 07, I think 08.
Was that a good education to work with the commercial?
Yeah, it taught me that I don't want to do that.
Because they're talk about fast, man.
Yeah, and like a lot of the guys they just do 2 coats, sometimes even 1 coat, and just like, nah, it's fine.
It's done.
Yeah. They just want to get paid, and like it's just it's a really bad factory. It's like a factory, and somewhere out east.
So it's just like, and when you see that work or you were leaving it, you're like, it needs another pass. It just really needs another pass. Why can't we just do another pass, right?
Yeah, because they're just they're just like builders condos, so nobody's gonna say anything. Like most people that are buying those places, they're not even
notice it.
They're not gonna put a light on the wall. They just want to know, like, oh, okay. Like even if the hardwood's off square, they're like, it is what it is. They won't notice it. Yeah.
And I've been in those units before. I've been in those multi-million-dollar units, and you're just shaking your head at what you see. Like you just stand there and you're like, nothing's straight, bows, and it's got something to do with the framing as well too. Yeah. And all kinds of stuff, right? And then there's a lot of, I guess, blaming the previous trade, because if the framing's not good, then the borders will just hang right on there. They won't care at that point, so then they can't really do anything about it. Yeah. Then you guys come in and you have to fix all this stuff. Yeah. Make it look as good as possible, but you can't be feathering out 15 feet to try to make it work.
Yeah, well, like, Yeah, for if you're working for a union company, they're not paying you to do that.
They won't, right?
Yeah.
What do they do in that situation? They just leave you just the right amount of boxes and that's it. You should be able to pull this off based on this.
Yeah, like usually in condos, like they'll drop off a certain amount of mud per unit. Like they've got it all calculated.
Everything.
Yeah. So they do that. When you work in houses like subdivisions, depends on the foreman. Like, you know, the foreman that we had when I started out, he was cool. Like, but he liked us, but other tapers he didn't like him as much. So like he would drive by with his truck and then call them out to come pick up the mud from his truck. But you know, for us, like he would get one of the laborers and bring it into the house, and then he would bring in coffee, and then we'd come by at lunch for coffee, and it was a good education. You know what I mean?
What was it? Because you guys were actually doing a little bit extra, a little bit more effort?
No, just so my cousin was like good friends with that foreman.
Got it.
They had become friends over the years, and you know, so they were.
How many years did you do that for the commercial side?
So like I want to say like a year and a half, 2 years, about that.
And it was pretty much the same thing when you first got started. From the time that you left, like this is it. This is what it's all about. It's never going to change. It's never going to improve.
Yeah. There's a lot of like sketchiness that goes on there too, because a lot of them it's mostly piecework.
It's all piecework. You're getting paid as long as you take there. You're still getting paid the same amount.
Yeah, and you know, like if they knock off 100 square feet from the unit, like you're not going to count every single unit. Most guys don't.
Yeah.
But if you know, let's say you catch that, you know, you go back, like that's back then. I think we were getting like 20 cents, something like that per square foot. So 100 square feet, that's what, $20, right?
It's not much, man.
But you know, like $20 every week, that adds up.
Yeah.
You know, so like you could complain to the union, you'll get your money, but you might not get work after. They might just be like, oh, this guy's a pain in the ass. So
do a lot of guys leave the union commercial side and go resi?
I don't know, because it's been a long time since I've been in that.
Steady work, right?
Yeah.
You're still getting your work, but you've got great relationships with certain builders, so then they're constantly feeding your work, right?
Yeah.
Keeps you busy enough.
Yeah.
But I mean, how was that transition leaving the commercial going into the custom resi? Because I guess they're a little more particular.
Yeah.
But you can also charge a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like a lot more or no?
Yeah. Well, if you're working for a union company, it's just like, here's your 25 cents or 30 cents. I don't know what they pay for 8-foot ceilings now, but it's in that range. And then you get extras for like corner beads and, you know, higher ceilings, openings, all that stuff. So yeah, you go if you do work for, you know, builders, you're going to charge more. Obviously you have to, because there's just way more involved. There's more work. The expectations are higher. You got to mark it up.
Of course.
So.
And then how many guys you got working with you now? You got your younger brother and somebody else, or no, just the two of you guys?
No, I've got a few subcontractors. Like that's kind of the way it is in the drywall business. Like everybody's just a sub of somebody else.
Okay.
There's very rarely actual
team
employees, like T4 employees. You know, everybody's just a sub.
So they all, I guess you guys all share, feed work, and everyone stays busy that way, right?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, so that's kind of how it is. And then like you could kind of look at it from two different angles. So like a lot of business owners, they're either boarders or they're tapers by trade.
Okay.
So like, yeah, I'm a taper, but you know, so I have a little bit less knowledge on the boarding side, but I know what the finished product is supposed to look like at the end.
Yeah.
So I could see, like, you know, if I see guys that are working and, you know, they're doing something wrong, like I see it right away, and I know what the problem is going to look like. So I could just, you know, I could either call it out. If they, you know, they could fix it. If they don't, then it's easy for me to fix. Like, it's simple.
What's the, I mean, you've been in the business how long now? We're talking about 15, no, we're going on 17 years.
Yeah. Started 15 years at the business 15 years ago. And then
the commercial side and stuff like that. So about
17
years.
Yeah.
What's different, man, from then to now?
Working with your hands is demanding. You demand gear that works as hard as you do. Now get it. Only at Work and Wear. Offering the best in workwear since 1975. From Cool Works ventilated work pants to keep you cool, to mesh and survey vests to keep you safe, including harnesses from $49.95. And top name safety footwear by Timberland, Keen, Kodiak, Terra, and Blundstone, just to name a few. Only at Work and Wear in Markham, Scarborough, and Whitby, or workandwear.ca.
I feel like I was a kid back then, man. I just knew how to do the work. That was like,
it?
I wasn't like paying attention to, all that stuff. But you know what? I will say that like people are a lot pickier
Today.
100%.
A lot of forgiveness back then.
Yeah.
When you say pickier, you talking about GCs or clients or both?
Both. Yeah.
So when they're picky, in what respect? The joints?
Just like, it could even be weird, like very like weird things. Just like, I'm trying to think of a good example here, but I find that like GCs are a lot more forgiving. Like they want like a good quality product.
Yep.
And then if you do work for homeowners, it's like they have like these like weird little hangups, like, oh, there's like a little bit of extra dust or whatever. And like most GCs, like it's part of it. And a lot of them have laborers and they sweep up, and it's, like we sweep at the end of the job, but
Yeah.
we're not vacuuming it because it's just the dust is going to continue to settle after we sand.
Of course.
And it's in our contracts too. It's just a light broom sweep. But so with homeowners, it's kind of like that.
It's drywall dust, man.
Yeah.
There's going to be some.
Or they'll ask for like, they'll ask like, oh, why didn't you tape all the way to the bottom of the floor? It's like, well, you got, like you've got like a 6-inch baseboard going there. Like, oh, I know, but like bugs. And it's like, bugs are going to.
Bugs. You mean like drywall bugs? Yeah. Like, really? Bugs?
Yeah, just little dust mites rolling around.
What about the whole world? Are there a lot of clients coming in with the trimless?
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of like it, man.
Do you?
Yeah. What do you think about it?
I'm not a fan of it because when you're moving furniture.
Oh, okay. You're talking about on baseboards.
Oh,
yeah.
well, baseboards or even windows that are lower. I'm finding windows are becoming larger, so they're being set lower. Then you're moving furniture and you just nick that corner, and then all of a sudden you got to patch that, whether it's a metal or a plastic or a reveal of some sort. I just find that the moment you nick it, you got to patch it now, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I don't like it. If you nick casing, wood, it's a mar, right? Like you can just like kind of tap it with paint and it's pretty much going to be gone at that point, right?
Yeah.
With drywall, I'm not a fan of it. It's a clean look,
yeah.
But I'm also a traditionalist, right? I'm not looking for like 8-inch casing and stepped and all this other stuff. Like I'm not that crazy, but I do like a nice casing, not a step bevel, because that's a Toronto garbage that I don't like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, are you a fan of it? But it changes your scope when you get a job like that.
Yeah.
You got to open up your schedule now.
Yeah. So we've got we've got one client and they have a lot of those modern finishes.
Yeah.
And some of it's tough. Like, so today we were working on this project and, the client changed their mind about 2 doors. So they wanted a reveal around the jambs.
Okay.
They've got conventional baseboard. It's flat stock. And then there's like a piece on the top. It looks pretty clean. And then, so around the door, they've got the shadow reveal all the way around.
Yeah.
But they wanted a quarter, like typically it's a 1/2-inch reveal.
Yep.
But they wanted a 1/4 inch.
There's only one company I know that makes, 2 companies that make the 1/4 inch, but you have to install it at the time.
So Trimtex, they have that 1/4 inch D300.
Okay.
And I didn't know that. Like I called around a bit. A lot of people didn't stock it. And then I was able to get a hold of it and like, it's easy enough to install, but then when you're coating it, like there's just like when you install it, you got to miter it, right?
Yep.
And then you still want to fill that miter in because it's like as tight as it's going to be, you still have to like tidy it up. You just want it to be flat, but it's like, I can't even put my finger in there because it's a 1/4 inch.
It's just tight.
It doesn't fit.
And they were just picky about it?
They just wanted that. And I was like, okay, we'll do it. It looked good. It looks really good.
Against the base that was just flat stock?
Against the jam. Sorry. So yeah, the base was just like a flat stock.
And it's base. Flat stock terminating where? Right before the 1/4 inch reveal?
So they installed the flat stock first.
And then put that, okay, I got it. So the flat stock's going all the way to the jam then.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. And then they got the 1/4 inch reveal coming up from there.
Yeah.
Why not? See, that to me, why not just reveal that quarter inch down on the base and then continue it?
I think it was just like an afterthought.
That's why.
Yeah, I think they, people change their minds kind of on the fly, right?
What kills me is when you get clients who are asking for all these reveals and then the dust build up on that.
Oh yeah. Like that's so like like around the door is not so bad because it's a vertical, right? But yeah, baseboard, like holy.
They're like, we didn't realize there was gonna be so much dust collecting there. I'm like, it's a small little channel and you've got dust in every single home. It doesn't matter whose home and whatever filter you got going on, you're gonna have dust in there. A lot of dust in there.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't realize that. But then it's the same respect, I guess, too, with casing and traditional stuff. But the only dust that really gets built up is on the top. Where it's got a flat section of it, right?
Yeah.
Listen, people, it's a home. You got dust in the home. Whatever you build, unless you just want completely flat walls and a corner bead right around everything that goes around everything, sure. Mm-hmm. Or even better, just do all parging, like mud or whatever, and the old school European.
Yeah.
Do that, right? But then even that, they're still using large scale casing baseboard as well, too, incorporated with that parging. Right. Like it's just different. I guess clients will just never stop complaining, man.
Yeah.
Like they'll want something, do it. They love it in a picture. Then they don't live around it. Then they live in it. And then they realize, well, we didn't realize it was going to have this much dust.
Yeah.
Or it was going to break when we wet the furniture and we moved it or whatever.
Yeah.
Welcome to construction.
That's how it goes. And then it's like, oh, why is it taking so long? Why are all my changes taking so long? Like,
I love that you said that. Yeah, they're pickier. Are they pickier because they think they're more educated these days?
I have no idea. I wonder, like, I used to think maybe it was the HGTV effect.
All that stuff. Could
be that. It could just be also like they're paying a lot more. Like they're like materials have gone up, labor's gone up. So now they're just like, they've got I don't want to say a chip on their shoulder because they're paying for it, right? Like,
well, they overpaid for the house to begin with.
There's
and
that,
then,
yeah.
And then they're looking at you guys to save.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that your material has increased with the same value as the houses have increased for people purchasing.
Yeah.
But your labor hasn't.
Yeah. Like the labor's gone up, but not by that much.
No,
not by that much.
I don't know anybody who's actually increased their labor to that much, right?
Yeah.
You can't. You're going to be priced out.
Yeah. Yeah. Like we would have to double it for sure. Because, home prices more or less doubled.
But nobody will pay you. No, like you won't get work at that point, right?
No, exactly. And people couldn't afford it either. Like it's just it's a disaster. But I think that's why, though. I think it's just like they are paying more. That's just my theory. That's my theory. It's probably wrong, but
Well, I think everything's more expensive. We've all gone grocery shopping. It's just a joke. You buy a car, you buy a house, you buy anything. Everything's just more expensive. But it's just so does construction.
Yeah.
It's just part of it, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe they're trying to get as much value out of you guys as possible. Like the longer you stay there, the more touches, ups, all that crap, it justifies the cost that they're paying you.
Yeah, it's probably not even a conscious thing. They're just like,
can you do this? Can you do this?
Yeah, and then, they just kind of, it's a subconscious thing probably.
Are anybody doing level 5 these days?
Yeah.
Lots of people?
A few. Yeah, one of our clients, we get requests from them to do level 5. I love it, man.
It makes sense.
It looks good. It looks real nice.
How much more effort does it take you?
Not that much. It's just more time, and it's like it's tough on your shoulders because it's just like the same motion over and over and over. But
what size Darby are you using when you're doing level 5?
Oh, I use a trowel. I just use like my regular trowel.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah,
wow.
I tried using the wide knives, but like trying to get around pot lights and all that without picking up the burrs.
Yeah.
Of the cutout it's a bit tricky.
So they're asking for level 5 ceiling and walls?
Yeah, some areas.
Really?
And sometimes like they don't ask for it, but also like if it's like a small area, like I'm just gonna level 5 it because there's like it's right against the window. Why not?
So you'll see it, and it kind of makes more sense at that point.
Yeah, and I don't want to go to them and be like, oh, like my work might show. So
it kind of makes sense, but then they'll look at that wall and they'll go, well, that's really nice, but then why don't we do the rest of it? Sure, here's the invoice.
Pay up.
How much more is it these days? Twice?
No.
No?
Like you could, I mean, anywhere from like, you could charge an extra 30 to 50 cents per square foot.
How's the mud these days? I know that we had the boys from Three Way here, and they were talking about how the mud has changed because they've been doing plaster since the 80s, mid 80s, early 80s, I think it was. And he says that the mud has changed since then.
Yeah, definitely from, that's what I've heard too. Like from the 80s, it's a lot better.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. I don't know what.
Well, the mud back then still had a bunch of asbestos in it.
Oh yeah.
That's why he said that it would actually trowel nicely, and when you sanded it, you had a little glitter on it, right? And that glitter was the asbestos in it.
Oh, maybe we need that again.
Yeah, but you're sanding and going airborne. You guys would have to be in hazmat suits, man, to do your job at that point.
Well, you know, it is what it is. We're going to get a nice finish.
You get a nice finish, but you ain't going to get a nice finish in life, man. That's going to be a problem later on.
Still going to happen. You know what? When you had, you said his name was Ted, right?
Teddy, yeah.
Yeah, he mentioned silicosis.
Yeah.
And like, I heard about it a little bit, but after he had mentioned it, I looked more into it. And I was like, man, that's a serious thing.
I love his analogy where he was teaching the young kids, and he just picked up some drywall dust that's on the floor after they're sanding, and he added a little bit of water, and he's like, that's what's going on in your lungs right now when you don't wear a mask.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're breathing that in, going right into your moist lungs.
Yeah.
That's
It just
happening.
like eventually will solidify. Well, I guess not in the lung, but still, it's like, it's muck.
It's muck.
Yeah.
It's always a risk, right? But I mean, it's like, and even I did it in the earlier days. I was like, I was never wearing a mask. You blow your nose and that's it. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not smart, man. So
yeah, sometimes like I'll pre-sand, and I'll just like, it's like a couple spots. I won't get my mask out, because you know it's a hassle sometimes, and it's not that much dust, but
still airborne.
And you know, like I shouldn't really say that with my with my name on my chest. Like,
no, but it's just like trust me, I've done that several times, Rob. Like honestly, and you just don't think anything of it. But then now I get older, and I'm like, it's not that I'm having breathing problems or anything like that, but hopefully nothing does happen. But I've noticed it with the hearing. I should have been wearing muffs a lot longer, a lot sooner.
Do you get a bit of tinnitus? You have a bit of tinnitus now? How bad is
So
it?
if I'm in a quiet room, like completely quiet.
It's not quiet.
It's not quiet.
Yeah. You walk into a quiet room, it's like, oh, it's loud in here. Right?
Yeah, it's there. And I honestly, I blame impact guns. I blame table saws. I blame all the tools that have, like 80 or 90 decibel levels, right?
Yeah.
And you weren't wearing protection, right? And I totally encourage all the kids that, listen, just throw them on. These days, if I'm doing something, I throw on the earmuffs that are completely sound. Yeah. Like you can be speaking right in front of me, I won't hear you. Right? That's how they just dampen everything, right? But yeah, it's there.
Yeah, like now I bought like a pack of earplugs. Yeah. Because like I just had like this tinnitus just for me. It just came on all of a sudden. I didn't even realize
where were you getting it from?
I have no idea. It's the weirdest thing. Because like when I fly, I've got the A20 Bose headset and they're noise canceling. It's active noise canceling.
But you still hear the...
You could hear the prop a little bit on the plane, but... It's not as loud. Like if you shut that off or if you take the headset completely off, it's loud. Yeah. But the A20, like it's mint. It's great.
I'm trying to figure out how it would affect your ears on a job site. You guys,
you know what I also started thinking was like the past couple of weeks, because my mixing drills, some of them are pretty old, and it's like back to, you know, these swap out tools and all that. So like my mixing drills, they're old, like,
but they're not that. Are they really?
But the older they get, the louder they get. So like if my brother's mixing and I'm in a different room, I hear how loud it is. But when I'm next to it, I'm like, I don't realize it. Wow. So I just have some earplugs in my back pocket and pop them in anytime I mix.
And I never realized that. I mean, I'm trying to picture my mixing. I've got like a standard, not that old, maybe 3 or 4 years old, a regular mixing drill from Bosch. Yeah. Is it loud? I guess when you crank it and it revs up, it gets loud.
Maybe, I mean, Bosch is good. Like I just have it's a DeWalt. It's old, and you know.
What's it sound like? The multi-tool? Is it like loud like that?
No, no, man. Yeah, like a wet saw.
Oh man, that's what I mean. It's just, and these I hate, and I've seen it, but they're still conscious of it. I hate seeing the kids without any ear protection, man. Yeah. These things are loud.
Yeah. Yeah, people don't realize it. Even like, do you go to concerts? You go to concerts often?
It's been a while since I've gone, and you'll notice it there. Yeah. I'll notice it sometimes. Like I actually saw Oppenheimer recently. Mm-hmm. holy crap, man. Like I was noticing, and there's so much sound transmission in that movie, like transitions. It goes to extreme levels regarding the music and the sound design and the effects to complete silence.
Yeah.
And then like my hearing, I was like, that hurt. Like I was just thinking that just absolutely hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, you notice it. Like once it gets quiet, it's just like, oh shit. Yeah, that did a bit of damage.
So I mean,
sure.
that's got to be construction and not paying attention to the earlier days when you're thinking you're invincible. That's all it is, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Last year, it was last year. I went to this metal concert, and
It was loud.
it was way too loud. It was like some Scottish metal band, and you know they were playing at Danforth Music Hall. It was a good show, but like I walked out of the auditorium, and I did not want to walk back in there.
Wow.
It was so bad. It was just like my ears were ringing for like 3 days. It was brutal. And then I was like, okay, anytime I go to a show after this, I'm just gonna pop in some earplugs, and like you can still hear it, you can still enjoy it.
Of course, but it's still that you got to do that to avoid the pain of having the sound. It's damaging, right? Is there any way to cure or fix? You can't really.
No, you can't. There was oh, you know what? You had a guy on last time. It was
Mark, yeah, he had the surgery.
Nesbitt, yeah.
Yeah, and he did one, and actually I spoke to him last week, and I think he's doing the second one next week. And he hears now, but I mean, he was blatant about he was in the construction, concrete, rubble, stone.
Yeah.
And he blames that. He goes, I never wore protection when I was younger.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I mean.
It's funny, you never think that contractors would actually say, I never wore protection back then, and now it's affecting me now.
Yeah, you can say that about a lot of things.
Stay safe, boys and girls. That's how it works. But yeah, no, it's totally like anybody that's on site these days, just put the muffs on, put the plug, even the foam things, right? Like
yeah.
Anything just to help out, right? Because every tool is loud.
Yeah. I see a lot more people. I see a lot more guys doing that now. Yeah.
They're doing it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then it's when you see the painters with Crocs and then they're sanding with no ear protection. Sanders are loud too.
Yeah. Like power sanders.
Yeah.
Even like pole sanding, like it's a bit of a higher frequency, I guess.
It is, yeah.
It's not like a wet saw, but you know, like when you're next to it all day, it's like, I don't know.
It takes its toll.
Yeah.
I wanna chat a little bit about why you wanted to go down the path of plane and become a pilot and stuff. Were you thinking about transitioning from this career to that?
I always wanted to fly. I've always wanted to be a pilot. That was like something that, like, I grew up right next to Pearson, so I would always just watch planes come in and out, and I was just like blown away by it. And then when I was about 20 years old, I'd moved out. My first place, I was in a basement apartment, and one of the guys that lived upstairs, he was a pilot.
Okay.
He's a commercial pilot. And I asked him, how much did it cost for you to get your license? And he said it was $50K. I was like, that's a lot. Like when you're 20 years old, even now, that's like a lot of money. Like
it's a lot, yeah.
Yeah. But especially when you're 20, living in a basement apartment, you know,
it's tough.
And like, so that kind of discouraged me, but he didn't really explain too well, like, you don't have to like just drop $50K up front. So that dream was kind of like temporarily quashed for a bit. And then I got back into it. I was like, you know what, I looked more into it. You don't have to just drop all that money at once. You can do a private license and it's a lot cheaper than a commercial.
How long did it take you from the time you started to the time you got, I guess, the first license and the second license?
I started flying in 2019, but I didn't really focus on it as much as I should have. Like, I didn't approach it the right way. But eventually, like, when I really started working on it towards my private, I finished it within a few months, I think it was.
Wow.
You've got to do a few tests. They're like super easy tests, like 20 question tests. And then there's a written exam, and it's 100 questions. You don't, like, the other ones, the answers are available. Like, you can just get the answers and just memorize it.
Okay.
They're just bird tests, but the exam is like, yeah, you really got to study. You have to, you know, put in the hours and just like learn all the shit.
It's really about communication, instrument.
Everything. Yeah. There's like navigation, meteorology. What else? You have to know just how the plane works and all the parts. What else? Air law.
Air law?
Yeah.
What's the air law? What's like law, like rules?
Yeah, just don't be a dick in the sky. You
Oh,
know?
okay. So all right. So just be respectful out there.
No, but just like where are you allowed to fly? Like, what are the different types of airspace?
Yeah.
What do you need to fly in that airspace? Like, so if you're going to fly around, there's like a control zone around Pearson, let's say. So it's a Class C control zone.
Okay.
So the kind of equipment that you need there, like you need a two-way radio. You need what's called a Mode C transponder. So it's stuff like that, or like how far away you can fly, or you have to fly away from clouds if you're not rated for that. And like if you're in a different type of airspace, you could fly relatively closer versus like Class C, like around Pearson.
Okay.
Where it's just like different things with, you know, or like when you're allowed to drink. So like you can
drink and fly? No, you can't drink and fly.
No. I think it was like 12 hours from your last drink
that you can get into a plane. What's it now?
I think it's 24. Like I don't bother because like I don't really drink that often and it's not really a thought.
Thanks so much for the booze there, by the way. Sorry.
I hope you like it, man. It's sweet, but it's it'll catch you, buddy. It's gonna yeah.
You won't even taste it because of the sweetness?
Yeah, you're gonna get wrecked.
Catch it?
Yeah, just be careful, you're gonna get wrecked.
I won't fly. So there's like did you gravitate to it really quickly? Like when you picked it up, you learned it and it almost became just an extension of yourself?
Yeah, because like I loved it. I loved that I was learning something new, and I like learning new shit, you know. Like I always just try to find something new that I could just learn about. It's like flying. I'm teaching myself a language.
Which one?
Spanish.
Of course. Half the world.
It's easy though. It's the easiest language for an English speaker.
Yeah.
You know, so like flying was that. But there's guys like they got their private license in like a month. If you get like really good weather, you can do your private in a month. If you like grind it out, you can do it in a month.
And then at that point, you get it private. You can actually you taking up a single engine.
Yeah, you could even like if you get a different rating, you can get like a multi-engine rating, so you can fly, you know, plane that's got two engines. And then there's like there's add-ons to it, right? Like there's like a night rating that you can get, so you can go up at night. Obviously, there's IFR, so you can fly through bad weather, which you know you don't really want to do.
Should you? Yeah, that's okay.
Or just like flying through cloud, right?
And then there's a commercial, which is what you have as well too.
Yeah.
So now that starts to become jet, right? Or no?
Yeah. With a private license, there are some jets that you like, technical jets that you can fly, like little like Honda like single jets.
Okay.
There's certain ones that you can. Commercial just kind of means you can get paid to fly, but you need to get like extra ratings and like. So like if you want to be an instructor, you got to get an instructor rating, and that's like a whole other, you can consider it a license because there's the amount of training that goes into it.
Got it.
You know, you can do like banner towing.
You mean
really?
Like,
will you marry me?
You need a license just for that, or a certification, I guess?
You got to get trained on certain types of aircraft for that, because like the one that we went up in is, it's a tricycle gear plane.
Okay.
So there's like a nose wheel, and then there's the main gear. So it's like a regular airplane that, you know, same layout. But then guys that tow banners, they're wheel draggers. So the back end, there's like a single wheel, and the front has two.
Oh, okay.
Like think of like the old World War II planes. Yeah. So like they'll fly down, and there's a banner laid out in a field. They'll fly down. There's a hook on the back, and they got to catch it. And then
they take off from there.
So
they're physically not landing; they're just catching it and then taking off.
Yeah, it's tough.
And how do you land with it on, or you dispose of it before you land?
You got to drop it, yeah. And it flies differently when you've got that, when you're towing the banner. Like the aerodynamics of the plane, like the flight characteristics just completely change.
It was weird that when you took me up. I mean, first of all, I couldn't orient myself at all. Like we're at night.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, are you seeing that? You seeing that? I go, dude, I don't see anything, man. I see lights. I see certain buildings. I recognize certain things. But by the end of the flight, I started recognizing some stuff.
That's what I was saying too. The whole
Yeah,
flight.
it's like okay, all right, and you just keep on going. But
I was asking you. I'm like, man, where are we?
Oh, you were asking me. I had no idea. I would just look for the CN Tower. That's the extent of it. That's where, as far as I know. But I was like impressed with how
I like that, man. Did you? What is that? Did you make it?
I built it for an idea way back, where I had an idea for a little short film that I wanted to make. Right, so I tested myself and just made it. The top 2 pieces broke off, and then I kept it, and then I found it and I brought it into the studio.
That's cool, man.
So,
no, I like that.
Yeah, so I mean that's the identifying mark when we were up there, right?
Yeah.
But I was surprised when you like, man, you want to fly? And I was like, okay, sure. And I was surprised how responsive, like how sensitive.
Yeah.
Like you literally are just touching it and the whole machine is moving. Like you're just shocked on how quickly that it moves, the change. And then you get that stomach roll stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then you were like, you want a barrel? And I was like, no, I don't want a fucking barrel. Like, what's wrong with you, man? I'm like, just going down was hard enough, but it was still fun.
Yeah.
By the end of the flight, you're like, yeah, now I'm starting to see certain things. And I started seeing the greens and the reds, the lights and the terminal and everything like that. And I was like, yeah, I get it, right?
Yeah.
I totally... It's fascinating. It's really, really interesting, right?
Yeah, it's a ton of fun. It's a ton of fun. It's like it's a whole new world. And then, I got to the point I was like, oh, I'll do my commercial license because I've got, quite a few hours and why not? So I did that. And
You ever think that you'll leave construction and full time that?
man, if I don't know, was somehow able to get the business to just run on its own, like, which I think is really difficult. Because like I'm pretty hands on. Like I'm on the tools. Like even though I have guys working for me, I'm still on the tools, and I like it. I enjoy what I do. But if I could get to the point where it was like that, or if I won the lottery, then I would just go take a job, just fly, like teaching kids how to fly little Cessna 172s. But like instructors, they're getting like $35K a year.
That's it.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying. Like it's pretty much poverty wages in Toronto, like $35K and like Costa Rica, Mexico, Colombia. It's good money.
So what do? They get licensed here and then they go to other places and
No, they just grind it out here.
Wow.
I got a buddy. He was an instructor, and then he got a job flying a DC-3. So it's like this old World War II transport plane. And, he was all over the place, but one really cool spot that he was working in was Antarctica. And
how is that to fly in cold? Is it affects, right?
It does. Actually, flying in cold, you get better performance out of the plane.
Okay.
Because the air is more dense.
Okay.
Because it's more compact, right? So it'll take off faster. If you're in really hot weather, plane's not going to want to take off. So, yeah, but I don't know. There's some pretty cool assignments that you can get out there, but you got to have,
you got to have the training, man.
Yeah.
Like you can't just jump into it.
Yeah. And you got to be good. You have to, like there's a ton of instructors, and yeah, it would be fun. Like some of the stuff they get to do is just like, I remember in my initial training, my first instructor, he was like one of the higher ups at the school. So he was allowed to do this, where like we would practice engine failures, and we were flying like north of Scugog, or like around Lake Scugog. There's just like farms there, right? So, we cut the engine to idle, like it's still running. We come down real close to a field, and man, we were like 10, 20 feet off the ground and off this farmer's field. And like the family was just watching us. We're just,
they're used to it or what?
I don't know. I wonder what they thought. I wonder what they had thought. But like most instructors, they're not allowed to do that. But this guy was, because, he was higher up.
Okay.
And like, man, I don't know. It's fun. And
it is pretty exhilarating, man.
Yeah.
It's different, right? And you're always aware. Like you got to be constantly aware and speaking, communicating.
Yeah.
Right. Otherwise, you'll get lost real quick, right?
Well, yeah, I had a few close calls a couple times.
Yeah, I remember you saying that it's hard to see planes in daylight.
In daylight, like one guy, he just was on the wrong radio frequency, and he passed in front of it. Must have been like 100 feet in front of us, 200 feet, 150, something like that. And like 100 feet away when you're driving, that's good distance.
But plane.
Yeah, and he just like popped up out of nowhere, and was like, "Holy shit!"
Did he? I guess he didn't realize, or
No, he didn't. Like you're supposed to, in certain areas, you got to go on certain radio frequencies and just talk and be like, oh, I'm at like, 4,000 feet going east over this town. And he was just on the wrong one. So,
but I mean, yeah, that's what there's a lot of awareness, man. You got to totally be aware of everything. That's why you got to be sharp, right?
Yeah.
So no alcohol, no weed, no nothing, all kinds of stuff. And just do that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and just like following SOPs.
What's an SOP? Safety operating procedures.
Yeah, just standard operating procedures. Yeah. Yeah, and like sometimes you have your own SOPs, right? So it's like you could do like a flow check, and then you follow, like there's a checklist for like, I think we probably saw.
Yeah, we did that. You were walking around and I was just watching you. You're checking. Me personally, it was a tin box, man. Like I couldn't believe how thin, how flimsy it felt or looked.
Yeah.
It was just really, and it was really compact.
Yeah.
And then the dash was really high.
Yeah.
Like I literally had to sit up to look over the dash.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it was just different. I mean, it's different than being on a plane when you're traveling somewhere and going on vacation or whatever, and you're in the back seat. It gave you a different perspective of what the cockpit is like, right? That's what it is.
How much horsepower do you think they put out? The ones that we went up in?
I don't know. Like it can't be more than like 300-400. No,
way less.
Like what? 100?
150.
150 horsepower?
Yeah.
How much do they weigh? 150 horsepower, really?
Yeah. Maximum takeoff weight for that is 2,300 pounds.
It's almost the same amount as my bike.
Yeah. So like, and that's like maximum takeoff weight, full fuel, the maximum amount of passengers you can carry is 2,300 pounds. But like without passengers, without fuel, I think it's around 1,600 pounds, something like that. 1,650, I think it is. Yeah, they're light, man. It's like a little lawnmower with wings.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
It was very, very noisy.
Yeah.
Like extremely noisy.
Yeah, you had the bad headset, man.
Yeah, I was just like, holy cow, man, this is loud. But yeah, it was just but it was fun. It was lots of fun, man, to go through that. So it's just, I'm fascinated that you basically have taken on another career. Then you don't know where it's gonna go.
Yeah.
Like you don't know if it's gonna be a transition from trade to that, and then you don't know what's going to go from there, right?
Yeah. I would love it.
Do any helicopter or what? No.
Oh man, it's expensive. It's like training is like $500 an hour for that.
$500 an hour.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more difficult, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know, have you seen like stuff on auto rotating, or have you heard of that?
No.
So it's like,
Working with your hands is demanding. You demand gear that works as hard as you do. Now get it. Only at Work and Wear. Offering the best in workwear since 1975. From Cool Works ventilated work pants to keep you cool, to mesh and survey vests to keep you safe, including harnesses from $49.95. And top name safety footwear by Timberland, Keen, Kodiak, Terra, and Blundstone, just to name a few. Only at Work and Wear in Markham, Scarborough, and Whitby, or workandwear.ca.
think of like when a plane stalls, you practice like stalling a plane. It just kind of like float, goes like this, the nose drops very gently, and then you can just recover it.
Yeah.
But with like, if your engine dies in an airplane, like you can just glide down to the ground. You pick up the right airspeed and it'll give you like your best glide.
Okay.
Helicopter engine dies, you're basically dropping down to the ground, and then at the last second you kind of flare it just to get a bit of like lift, so that the landing isn't that hard.
Softer.
Yeah.
That's how you emergency land a helicopter?
Yeah. It's called auto rotate. And you just come down. It's like, oh man.
You're trying to fly it down?
You're trying to get a lot of speed, because if you have more speed, you get more lift.
Okay.
So if a plane, like, if you think about like a plane flying really slow, it's not going to have any lift, so it's going to fall out of the sky, right?
Yeah.
Same thing, helicopter. If it's flying fast and then you want to like pull it back, you'll get a little bit of lift, but you got to time it just right.
Right before you hit the ground.
Right before you hit the ground. And then you still got to land it and hit the ground. Oh man. Yeah. It's a different beast.
You ever see movies or TV shows that are doing any kind of aerial stuff and you're like, that's bullshit. That's all bullshit.
Sometimes I think. Yeah. But there's one channel. There's who's the guy? I think it's this guy. He flies a 747. He looks like Caillou.
Okay.
He just looks like Caillou, Caillou was an asshole, right?
Was he?
I think so.
I don't know.
What? Maybe she knows. She's younger than me.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this guy, he talks a lot about aviation, but he'll watch like films and be like, oh, this is like bullshit, because a lot of it's like airline stuff and they have their SOPs.
Okay.
It's a lot more rigid. So he's like, he knows like way better than, you know, I'm just like, you know, CPL. It's like nothing. But this guy, he knows, and it's fun to watch that stuff sometimes too.
It's just, I find it very, very daunting. That's the one thing even though there isn't a world of instruments, whatever, there was just like, you literally were communicating and controlling and touching every component on that dash.
Yeah.
It wasn't like one thing that wasn't there, right? That needed to be used as a result of flying.
Yeah.
Which is really, really daunting and kind of challenging if you don't know what's going on, right?
Yeah.
But good for you. I mean,
Yeah.
that's amazing that you've done that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. I loved it. I still do. It'd be nice to just buy my own plane one day. And
they expensive? I know you told me the price and I was like a little...
You can get one for like 30 or 40K.
Used.
Yeah. The old, like, you know, like the one that we went up in was like from like 67.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's very tinny, but I guess as long as it goes up and came down.
As long as it goes up.
We went up and we
down.
came down safely, right?
Yeah.
So, and like you said, yeah, you could probably, I guess those smaller planes would be a lot easier to land in an emergency.
Yeah. Yeah, you just like, you got to pick up the right airspeed. So like 65 knots for that one, which probably translates to 80 miles per hour or something like that. And then you just like pick up that, because if you go slower, you're just gonna like, you're gonna fall out of the sky faster. But like 65 gives you like the best distance to height. So yeah, they'll land.
You ever get clients or GCs that kind of look at you a little differently when they hear that you're also a pilot?
I try not to mention it too much.
Well, you're telling everybody right now.
Oh man, I'm out. I feel
no,
like,
because I could see that, because it's like it's quite a skill, you know what I mean?
yeah,
So it's like maybe you got a different mindset, right?
yeah. I think it's like it's changed the way I approach the way I work too.
In what respect?
Like with like the checklists and SOPs. So I kind of, when I started flying, I picked up a lot of that. And I'm like, when I do my own work, or just like when I, like the process from like start to finish of like, you know, initial call with the client to closing it out.
Interesting.
I try to follow along, like, you know, kind of like a formula, just like a checklist, you know, for a Cessna. And, you know, if you follow the checklist on a Cessna, you're pretty solid, unless, you know, like somebody else did something wrong. But even then, you could save it. It's, you know, there's enough information there where it's like, you should be fine.
Fill in the blanks.
Yeah, like it'll just like, it'll tell you. It's like there's, you know, a regular checklist and there's an emergency checklist. And, you know, I try to like take that approach with jobs, with projects. But there's a lot more curveballs with projects, man, because people change their minds. Framing's crooked.
I don't know, man. I'd argue, man. There's a lot of curveballs up in the air. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of risks, a lot of dangers. There's all kind, and you're constantly renegotiating, I guess, and navigating and all kinds of stuff. So
Hit a few birds too.
have you ever? Yeah, you hit them.
Yeah, a couple. Yeah. I was in Oshawa, so like we were flying out of Oshawa, right? And I was doing my night training. Came in, I was pretty low, and like I just saw something just hit me. I was like, oh man, these Oshawa kids, like this is what I get for flying in Oshawa. Sorry, people from Oshawa, but you guys know.
Did the bird stick so you can cook it later on, or what's going on? Like just defeather it and have it for dinner. But I mean, yeah,
there was a little bit left on the plane for dinner, but
what do you have to do? You have to hose it down for the next person who's going to use it.
no, I still have the pictures of it. Just like, yeah, poor guy, but.
He's probably wondering, what the fuck was that, man?
He's like, what did I do in life?
Yeah, man, I was just flying. All of a sudden, this stupid machine just hits me, man.
He just rolls up in heaven like, God, come on, man.
Bring me back down, man.
Yeah.
No, it's all right. So I'm just curious. I mean, that's why I was asking about the helicopter, right? Because I guess you start looking for new challenges now. You got this challenge taken care of, so then you got to figure out what's the next challenge at that point, right?
Yeah. I started doing aerobatic training too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
We're doing
yeah, I won't go up for that one, man.
like the first time I went up, I was scared. Like you pull some G's, like that plane, you aim for 4 G's. So it's just like 4 times your weight,
Yeah.
right? And
So you're sinking in the seat at that point.
yeah. Like I recorded myself on GoPro, and like my face was like, it's just like
Holy
dropping down.
cow! Just from 4Gs.
Yeah. And then like when you pull back, when you're doing a loop, that initial pullback, you hit the 4Gs, and then once you kind of hit like a bit of a steady state, and it goes back to 1G or maybe like 1.2 or whatever. And then you're inverted, and it's like, you're looking above, like through the canopy, come back down. And then when you pull out of the dive, you hit that 4G, not 4Gs, but you get close to it. And it's great. It's great.
Is it kind of like it helps you physically and mentally because it's pushing your body to an extreme?
I mean, maybe, yeah. Like there's got to be like some science behind that, right?
I would assume so. Like, I mean, the way you fix your body or the way you kind of advance your body is by pushing extremes on it, right? So I guess I'm just assuming that pilots that push their bodies in those kinds of environments would actually be beneficial to the body.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless you crash. That's a different story, right? Then you pushed it too far, right? At that point.
Yeah. We don't talk about that.
No.
I'll say when I came down and like I thought about it, I felt happy. I was genuinely happy. So maybe that was like a pretty good indicator of, some sort of positive effect of it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I thought about this too. So like, I wanted to get your take. So like, there's like this idea where, if you're doing something right and you feel good about it, you feel positive about it. Like, I don't know how to phrase it, but like, at the end you feel happy. So obviously like you're doing the right thing, but there's certain situations where things make you happy and it's like, it's not the right thing. So like, what's like the best way? What do you think in your mind is the best way to define like a personal success? Because like you work out, it's painful, right? And maybe you're not happy while you're doing it. So like, how do you look at that? How do you look at like a personal success?
Well, it's all individual, right? So everybody's got their own level of success, and what you think is successful may not be successful for somebody else, right? So I'm trying to figure out, so if you're doing something and that it's not right, but it's giving you happiness or successful attached to it, I guess as long as it's not hurting somebody else. Like, I think that's the equation for me. I would look at it like, as long as it's not hurting somebody else and it's still giving me pleasure or happiness or whatever it is, then I find that it's still a positive to me.
Right.
But also I find that I know that majority of people, as they get older, they try to figure out their purpose, and they somehow try to connect their purpose to happiness. And they're two separate things, right? So I think everybody's just motivated and driven by happiness and trying to chase happiness, their version of happiness.
Yeah.
And then in the back of their head, they're trying to figure out what their purpose is, what's the reason why they're here, what they're supposed to achieve or accomplish or shit like that. And sometimes maybe it's like that quiet room in tendonitis where we're like, you all of a sudden, like, maybe you just need to just drown everything and just have a clear mind, right?
Yeah.
And then just, there's a lot of people that there's some people that I know in construction, they purposely keep themselves busy or around situations to keep themselves, their minds and their thoughts busy. And they probably do that because they're not able to hear what's truly going on in their life. You know what I mean? And I think it's a rare breed that could be completely quiet and zone out everything. But that goes to meditation, Rob. Like it's hard to meditate. Like, I've tried it.
Yeah.
There's too many voices in there. There's way too many voices in there, right? And you talk to people who meditate. I'm trying to get somebody on the show as well because I want to get more insight on it, right? Like, this show's about me trying to fucking find my own shit, right?
Yeah.
So it's like they explain it to you and how it should be done. And you're like, I can't quiet my mind that way. Maybe it's the creative side of me. Like, I came from film, like I'm in construction, and now I'm doing a bit of both now. My mind is creatively always looking at things and always trying to figure out stuff. So it's like hard for me to quiet my mind. Yeah. And I think as I get older, all I really want to do is quiet my mind.
Right.
Which is challenging.
Especially with the tinnitus.
It is, because the quieter you get or the quieter space you find, the louder that becomes, which distracts you, which makes you feed into your thoughts, which continues you and your distraction, which prevents you from clearly focusing your meditation on your mind, right?
Yeah.
That's a challenge now.
Do you see yourself as more creative than like the opposite side of it, like logical, let's say? Which
100%.
like, if we divide it like into two, it's like you're more on the creative side.
Which is right or left? Which one's the creative? Which one you would know? I don't know. Okay. All right. I thought you would know. Whatever brain it is, I'm sure that mine's larger on the creative side than it is on the logical side. There's a lot of reasoning that I'm like, oh, fuck it.
Yeah.
As you get older, you just throw so much caution to the wind. But I'm in my 50s now, so I can only throw so far. You know, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that rotator cuff. Eh?
No. That's all gone now, man. That's totally. And you guys get that all the time, man.
Yeah.
I told you how I fixed that, man. You got to sleep in bed with your arm up as if you're like part of the German army. You know what I mean? Like you do that for a few months and it's gone, right? So, all you people are offended. Kiss my ass. But basically you got to keep your arm up, right? It's the same way that I see guys with plantar fasciitis or whatever, that shit, right?
Yeah.
And I went to the doctor and I don't know if we talked about it or I spoke to somebody else about it. I had that because you had the wrong footwear going on and all of a sudden I went to the doctor and he started talking about the boot. And sleeping with the boot on, and then if that didn't work, then a steroid shots. If that didn't work, then surgery. And I'm like, dude, I'm not liking any of this shit. You know, I solved that. You sleep with your feet hanging over the edge of the bed.
Oh yeah, that worked, eh?
That worked.
Wow.
Because when you sleep, and I sleep on my side or my stomach, you extend your foot. So now it's in an unnatural position, which creates the plantar, right? Mm-hmm. So the moment that you just slide a little bit down, you put your feet over the edge of the bed, your feet's in a natural position. I did that for a few months. It disappeared.
Is that like like a thing, or you kind of like tested some different stuff out?
No, I just did that.
You did that.
I was in discomfort.
Yeah.
And I had enough of this shit, and I wasn't going to listen to the doctors about the boot and about the steroid and about the surgery. I was like, those are three options I'm not interested in, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not a stormtrooper. I don't like drugs that much, and I'm not going to do surgery for that. So I just literally slid down.
Yeah.
And then I started realizing there's no pain. It's not discomforting. It's not. And then it completely went away. And I have not had it since.
Yeah. There's always like a holistic approach. I feel like
it's not that I'm not like, I honestly believe that you can fix your body naturally.
In like simple ways.
Yeah, simple ways, right?
Yeah, you don't.
There's extremes where you do get an illness or what have you, and it's like you've just been targeted.
Well, you get hit by a car. You know, you can't sleep half off the bed, right?
No, but I mean, like we're in construction. Like, how many times do we damage something?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, I remember lifting certain things and you get a pain and you pull the muscle in your chest and all of a sudden you're like, going, that really hurt, right?
Yeah.
Or you extend an arm, like something happens. Like, yeah, the friggin' rotary cuff is a big one. Everyone always has rotary cuff problems. And I'm like, that's a pinched nerve. That's all it is. Mm-hmm. It's an inflamed pinched nerve and you just got to reduce the swelling. Mm-hmm. That's all it is, man. Ice works. And the other thing, I don't know if I told you this, but I've been ice showering every morning since December of last year.
Oh, you did it you started in the winter, right?
The water's even colder.
I know, yeah, that's what
the water's even, and dude, the first time I ever did it, I barely made it to a minute.
Yeah.
I also realized that I insulated the pipe so well in the house that when I first turn on the shower, it's warm water.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not getting the full cold. So I literally had to run the water to get the coldest water I possibly can, and then I get in there, and now I can do a 15 to almost 20-minute shower. Now I'm at the point where I'm actually showering and bathing and soaping, sudsing up. And
it's all cold.
All cold.
It's like not even a thought to turn on the warm. You're just like, no, cold, we're set.
Your dick is shriveled because it's fucking cold, but it's like, it's good. I don't have any joint pains.
Yeah.
I don't have any rotary cuff, plantar. I got nothing at all.
Yeah.
So it does something.
Yeah. Like I did that a bit in the summer, but that's like.
Dead of winter, man. Do it. I did the ice bath one time and that's literally like fire. Like when you sit in it, your body is feeling like it's on fire.
They have these these ice bath tubs that they sell now, but I feel like you just gotta like
cold shower. You know what it is? There's another guy, Dave Osprey, who did this book called The Bulletproof Coffee.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. He's a biohacker. Mm-hmm. So I totally respect his thoughts on biohacking, right? And he actually said that you can actually get a big salad bowl, put ice water in it, and dump your head into it.
And that'll have like
the same effect as doing an ice bath or a cold shower. It's all the nerve endings in your head that actually trigger. There's that. I'm trying to remember his name, but he was saying soon as you put your body in that state, that frozen thing, there's something that comes from out of your brain, and it tells your body to react a certain way. So you're being told that you're freezing, so your body has to react to it and defend it.
Right.
So the first thing it does is it makes the blood in your body move, which makes you feel warmer, which it totally does. So when you first get into a cold shower, you're cold. Like you literally just step right in and you're cold. But then you ever had morphine? You ever been in a hospital and the doctors injected morphine into you?
Yeah.
Didn't you feel that rush of just going through your entire body like that? That
felt great.
It felt amazing.
I asked if they could give me something home.
Yeah, that becomes an addict, right?
Yeah.
But it's like that. So as soon as you get that cold thing, that movement of blood in your body just warms your entire body, and then all of a sudden you're not cold anymore. Like it's insane how it's completely different now. So I'm not even afraid of it. I'm actually looking forward to the winter ones because the water is so much colder.
It has a better effect.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally has a better effect, man.
Yeah.
So and I'm telling you the truth. I'm 51, almost 52. I got no joints, man. Plus I get to the point where I'm in the shower, I'm doing squats. I'm bored, so I want to sit here for the cold water. So then all of a sudden I want to strengthen my legs. Like, I mean, everyone knows when you're training, everyone's getting started. The legs, the quads are the biggest muscles in your body.
Yeah.
So if you strengthen them, it affects the rest of the body, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm in the cold shower and I start doing squats. And I'm doing perfect squats. I'm not letting my knee go past my foot. So I'm literally close-eyed, cold water pouring on me, doing cold squats.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, the form is that's super important to you. You just were saying how, you don't let your knees go past your feet. And
everyone cheats when we're training, man. Come on, swinging when you're doing curls and shit and all that kind of crap, right?
Well, you could swing it up, but it's on the negative repetition where you got to get it right.
Yeah. It gets harder as you get older, Rob.
Man, you know what? It's funny because even now I'll work out 6 days a week, or sometimes I'll go 9 days in a row, 12 days in a row. And it's okay. It's all right. But when I was younger, in my 20s, I just had way more energy. Sometimes I would do 2 workouts. I just do a very simple push pull leg routine. Sometimes I would do 2 in a day.
Those days are gone.
Those days are so gone.
How old are you?
35. I just turned 35. Yeah.
You still got time, man. You're gonna see a huge change when you hit 40s, and definitely you're gonna see a huge change when you hit 50s, man.
Yeah. I got time to go downhill. Yeah, but yeah, so you work out. I remember a while back.
Not as much as I used to, right?
I remember a while back. Yeah, you were posting videos. Do you still have that rower?
I still have that rower. The water rower is an amazing thing. It was probably one of the best things I ever purchased. $1,500. It's a hell of a workout, dude. I can't even get past 7 minutes on that thing.
That's a good price for what you're getting.
Yeah.
It's
a lot better than a spinner bike. It's a lot better than a elliptical, whatever. Yeah. It's a lot better than that shit, right?
100%.
Plus it's simple. It's just literally water.
Yeah.
That's all it is, right? And what I like the best about it, because I went through spinners, all kinds of other machinery, there's always pressure points. That then doesn't have a single pressure point on it. You're sitting down and you're moving and your lats and you're stretching and all that stuff. There's no pressure resistance.
Yeah, there's no high impact when you're running or whatever.
Yeah.
You were doing it in the morning, right?
Yeah, I was always. I talked to Jason the other day and he's like, "Yeah, I do my workout in the evening after work." And I'm like, "Nope, I can't do that, man."
Yeah.
I do it first thing in the morning. 4 a.m. cold water, cold shower, and then the train, right?
I admire people that do that because I wake up in the morning and sometimes I'll do stretches or just certain workouts just to strengthen core, or if I've got a rotator issue, I'll do some light stuff just to tighten up. But yeah, to do the morning stuff. Oof.
What time you wake up?
It depends how busy I am.
I guess the question is what time you go to bed.
What time do I go to bed? Man,
I go to bed at 10:30, man.
The same thing. Some nights I'm in bed at 9:30.
Really?
Yeah.
And you're having a hard time wake up?
No. Like this past winter, from February up until maybe April, May, I was going to bed 9:30 and I'd be up at 4:30.
Wow.
And I mean, it's not that bad. That's 7 hours, right?
Yeah. They say that's the best time between 10 and 3 in the morning to sleep.
Yeah.
That's the best time. That's when you get the best sleep out of your body.
Okay.
If you go to bed later and wake up later, it's harder on your body.
Yeah.
Right.
So So like, how often are you on the tools now? Are you doing that?
No, I'm not. I'm
You're
like,
not.
yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. I mean,
Right.
if I get a job, then I'll figure it out at that point.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not. I'm doing more of this. Like you talk about running the business differently. I'm focusing more on this, the administrative side of this. There's all kinds of stuff on the behind the scenes on this.
For sure.
Right. So there's a lot of work on that. I mean, I'm talking about doing some projects. I'm trying to figure out how I would do it, but they would be more projects that are tied to this show instead of for clients. Right. So I think my days with clients are done. As much as I've had so much fun with that shit.
So much fun.
As all of us have.
I love doing homeowner jobs. It's my favorite thing.
I've always said to everybody, I don't know, I probably said it on the show, this industry would be amazing if you got rid of all the clients.
You know, there are some like good homeowners that
100%.
we've worked for, and
Far
it's
and few though.
Yeah, like early on, we did a lot of stuff for homeowners because it was like a lot of advertising, and they would just call me through HomeStars, and you know, most of them were great, and then once in a while, you know, there were some like interesting ones, we'll say. But I wanted to ask you about like, so when you were on the tools, and you were working out, because I remember when you were doing like the rows in the morning.
Yeah.
You were on the tools at that point.
Yeah.
So like, how was that? Like, how did you balance that?
It was challenging. I mean, it's nice that I was getting more sub trades. So I was basically just being a GC administrating things. Mm-hmm. So I would show up on site, be there, supervise, and not necessarily physically do work.
Right.
I don't think I'd be able to do a training in the morning and then go to work and do physical work. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of trades that do that.
Yeah.
But it takes its toll over time, no, right?
Yeah.
Plus, training when you get older is different. Like, gone are the days of 2-3 plates. Like, that isn't shit. I'd rather do 25 repetitions or 30 repetitions at one plate and handle that, right?
Yeah.
Then I'd rather do that. Those are days. I mean, we had a kid in here, Tyler, I think it was, for the plumbers round table, and he was like 25. Mm-hmm. And I looked at him and I was like, "You on creatine?" He goes, "Yeah." And I'm like, I gone to those days of creatine, right? Yeah. But I wonder if I were to start going back on creatine, would I balloon? Because I actually really did well on creatine. Like, it was almost, I saw people a month later that didn't see me, and they're like, "What the fuck you on?" Mm-hmm. I was like, "Creatine, man." And I was like, it kind of absorbed in my body like really, really quickly. Yeah, it gave me a lot of strength.
I don't know if I saw you at that point, or maybe it was like one of your posts, but yeah, you look pretty jacked. And I was like, "Oh man, this guy's fucking, you know."
And I wasn't on anything.
Juicing up.
No, I'm never gonna. And I know guys that have juiced, and I was like, I'm not touching that shit.
I thought about it once. I was like, you know, because like, you know how it is. Like, if you do like one cycle and then you build up that muscle, you know, your muscle creates extra cells, or the cells expand, and like, you'll always have that potential, even if you go through one cycle. So I was like, maybe I should try it out. And then I just decided against it because it seemed like more hassle than it was worth. Like, you have to like go off, so like all this stuff. And I just want to feel like good. I want to like look decent. And that's why I do it. I'm not like, you know, like you said, like, toss on 3 plates. Like that's your
20s, man.
Yeah. And that's like an ego thing too. Yeah. It's like, you know, like I can do, you know, whatever. I can squat, deadlift 500. I never got to that point. And I probably never will, but that's just like an ego thing, man.
You don't need to. Like, it's just, I think at that point, it's just good to do something.
Yeah.
I see a lot of friends of mine that.
Working with your hands is demanding. You demand gear that works as hard as you do. Now get it. Only at Work and Wear. Offering the best in workwear since 1975. From Cool Works ventilated work pants to keep you cool, to mesh and survey vests to keep you safe, including harnesses from $49.95 and top name safety footwear by Timberland, Keen, Kodiak, Terra, and Blundstone, just to name a few. Only at Work and Wear in Markham, Scarborough, and Whitby, or workandwear.ca.
Are fully committed in office jobs, and they've all gained so much weight, and they walk like old men. And I have to catch myself sometimes and talk to them going, you know what? We're the same age, man. And you're walking as if you got like 15 years on me, man. Mm-hmm. Like, why are you walking with such difficulty, man? I don't get it. I don't want to be at that point either, right?
No.
I really want to, without being roids or whatever, but I've also bumped into much older people than I that are very vibrant. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of it has to do they do walks. That's a European mentality. Like, they always eat and then walk.
Yeah.
Like that's it. I love that mentality, right?
It's not sedentary. Like, yeah,
you live longer.
Yeah.
You live happier too. And you don't have the aches and pains.
Yeah. But there's like a whole thing about that too. Like, I don't know. It's a whole can of worms. Like, everything's like walkable in Europe, right? And they have like these 15-minute cities, but it's pretty controversial here.
Yeah.
Because, everything that's happened the past few years. So like, I like the idea of just being able to walk anywhere. Like, we live in Mississauga, so it's like we have to drive.
You have to drive because you can't walk to anything that's interesting.
Yeah. Like my neighborhood, it's like just to go to the grocery store, it's like, that's like a 10, 15 minute, it's like a solid 15-minute walk.
But it's like a 2-minute drive.
Yeah.
But then you're carrying stuff, right?
Carrying stuff, and it's winter, you know what I mean?
But that's Europe, and yeah, I guess that's what it is. And then I see a lot of, are tradespeople getting stronger? Are they healthier? Are they more conscious about that shit? Because they're eating Uber, getting Tim's every day, smoking, right, and weed.
Yeah.
And so it's like, are they really healthier than I was when I was much younger? I don't like, I remember even back before construction, I was in the film business. I used to train a lot more, and I had a physical job being a lighting technician, and my muscles were completely fatigued. Right. And I remember my boss giving me shit going, why can't you carry that? That should be easy for you. Right. And I was like, because I just finished training today and it actually hurt this morning. Right.
Yeah.
And you got to recover.
Yeah. I think most trades guys, like in general, we're not that healthy. Like, I love a good cigarette. Everyone, like, like I'll pick it up for a month and just smoke it. I love it, man. It's good.
That's what I do with cigars, man. I think I maybe had 4 cigars this year so far, right? But it's August coming into September, and that's the extent of it.
Yeah. But yeah, I love a good dart. But then, like I'll stop. Yeah.
But I don't think the young trades of today are as health conscious as we were at that age.
I don't know. It's hard to say.
But then again, in your 20s, you can almost eat anything.
Yeah.
Like
I still do. I still eat anything.
No, I can't. I can't. I'm on 1 meal a day.
Oh, really?
In the evenings, that's it.
That's intense, man.
I don't eat anything. Oh, dude, man, 7-day water fast for once a year. So no food for 7 days straight.
Okay, yeah, you drink water, yeah.
Yeah, just water.
Oh,
no
man.
food.
The focus on that after like a few days, like, dude, you'll stare like a hole through a fence.
No, you're good because, and I've done it without any medical supervision either, right? Because they tell you you're supposed to go to the doctor. I go to the doctor, he prescribes pills. I'm like, that's not a conversation I want to have, right? So all you do is you be aware of it. And I was still working on the job site. I remember a few times that I did it, and I was on the job site on the 6th day, 5th, 6th day, and I was picking up stuff, and I was getting lightheaded. And I had to sit down.
What was your focus like?
By the 7th day, you're really clear.
You could probably see if something was off by 1/16 of an inch.
No, I don't know about that. I don't know about.
You're just like, nah, you fucked up.
Your whole body, like, it just transforms because you're doing something that your body's not used to doing. And then this year I started adding 3-day water fasts once a month.
I would love
so you
to
don't
do
eat
that.
for 72 hours.
I would love to do. You got balls to do.
It's
that,
easy,
man.
dude. I don't wake up and have a big breakfast.
Yeah.
I wake up and have water and lemon and ginger. That's what I wake up, and then I don't touch food until like 5, 6 in the evening.
When you grew up, what was the kind of breakfast that you guys would like?
It was just
like
cereal crap and
Yeah.
shit like that. Like, you'll never find me in the aisle, in the cereal aisle. You'll never find me in the chip aisle. Like, you'll never find me in those aisles, right?
Yeah.
Because all that shit is garbage, in my opinion, right? It doesn't really benefit. And you taste it too. So here's the best thing. If you ever do a 7-day, if you ever want to try it out, right? You got to really be conscious of driving on the 6th or 7th day. Like, you can't operate motor vehicles and definitely power tools. You got to be cautious of it, right? Because you're weak and your focus is clear, but it's not clear. You can't react as quickly as you could if you were eating normally, right?
And you can't even have sugar. Like, sugar's out of the
You
equation.
can't touch any of that shit. Some people have done like juice cleanses where you're just touching natural juices and they'll survive that way. But I went full blown water, right? And the best part of doing a 7-day is that when you're on the 8th day and you're gonna have your first meal, your taste buds literally taste every single thing in the food that you're about to eat. So pick something that has extreme flavor to it.
Yeah.
Because you will taste, if you put certain spices in there, you'll taste it all. Like, your mouth hasn't touched any food whatsoever.
Yeah.
So the receptors, like they're so sensitive now. And that's the first thing I noticed when I first did it. Like the first time was probably about 10 years ago. Like as soon as I had that first bite, I was like, holy shit, I'm literally tasting, and I don't have the best taste buds in the world, right? And I was literally tasting everything.
Oh, you could probably hear taste too, man.
Yeah, it's insane. Like it's just, and I know it's beneficial, right? So, and you lose, the first time I ever did it, I lost 23 pounds.
Wow. Like from a 7-day?
7 day. So you know the way it works, right? It says it starts to eat all your fat.
Yeah.
Because that's where the energy is,
It's like
right?
ketosis.
Exactly. So it starts to eat away all that stuff. So then I lost 23 pounds the first time. Second time I ever did it, I think it was about 21. It's always been at around 19 now, 18, 19 now pounds. Guarantee it's gone. But I'm actually at my weight now. I haven't been this weight since my, I would say, late 20s.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And I got, the heaviest I got was still 40 pounds heavier than I am now. And that was last summer.
What do you got now? Or you don't want to say?
No, I mean, right now I'm pushing 213.
213.
Right?
Okay.
I'm 5'9", 213, 51 and a half.
Yeah.
I want to get back to my ideal weight when I was training back in those days was 195.
Yeah.
Right? So I would love to get to 195, be a 50-year-old man at 195 and have the energy, right?
Yeah.
To
Your
go
arms
with it.
look like,
No, the arms are still fine.
Up.
The
Yeah,
waist
they're
is
good.
down.
Yeah.
I love that the belt keeps on flapping on the side. So you got that little tail sticking out now, right? And I love that the pants are not like snug at all.
Yeah.
They never will be.
Yeah.
But eating once a day, like you enjoy the meal that you eat and you leave it at that. And then I don't eat until 24 hours later, right?
Yeah.
I have plenty of energy, man. I could totally do it on a job site. But I know we're so used to, like Rob, the guys are so used to walking on the job site with a Tim's in their hand, donut, bagel, and then midway through the day, smoke, bagel, donut, whatever. Tim's.
I agree with the smoke.
Right? So it's like, it's all that. And I'm not just like, okay, like it's funny. I read somewhere where that diabetes is killing more people than smoking.
Probably.
So, I mean, if someone was eating a candy bar, nobody says shit about that. But if you're smoking a cigarette, then they say shit about that, right? And then weed is a lot safer than tobacco. Cigarettes.
Yeah.
Because of the amount of shit that's in cigarettes,
Yeah,
right? And that's why I smoke a cigar. So cigar, it's like,
it's a bit more natural.
you know exactly what's in there, right? Unless it's a shady cigar.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
So it's
just like a corner store cigar.
and I'm not endorsing. I'm like, if you're going to smoke, and same with drinking. Like, I know there's lots of guys like Huberman, you know, if you drink, it kills so many brain cells and stuff like that. And I'm like, listen, occasionally a drink is okay.
It's fine, yeah.
It's fine. I drink wine. I'm European.
Yeah.
You drink wine, right? It's
Yeah.
like it's in the baby bottle. Like, that's as far as it goes. Like, it's just like, if I had kids, I'd be putting in the baby bottle. What's wrong with that, man?
Yeah.
It's grape juice is what it is.
I mean, yeah, I grew up with my dad and my nonna, and like around holidays, my nonna would give me a bit of like anisette, or sometimes, you know, like she would always have a bit of wine with every meal. So like, you know, she would give me like a sip of wine, and you know, when I was a kid. And
But it's perfectly fine, man. Probably
think
better
so.
than a lot of the baby formula today, right?
yeah,
I would think so.
yeah,
But yeah, I think that as you get older, you start realizing certain things. And yeah, I was bad in my late 40s. And then you're eating garbage. I stopped eating garbage, right? You start realizing what's good or bad. And then I totally believe that protein meat is really valuable. Occasionally I touch carbs,
yeah,
right? And I vegetables. That's it.
yeah,
So it's just like a lot of red meat, a lot of ground beef, a lot of protein chicken, thighs, breasts, whatever, right? And I use it as fuel is what I do, right?
yeah. If you approach food that way, it's like, okay, like I need this to get through. I need X to get through Y.
When you consciously tell yourself that you're only going to eat once a day, you look forward to that moment when you're eating that once a day, right? And all of a sudden, and you don't have hunger pains.
Yeah,
Like, that goes away real fast,
it does. Yeah,
right? But the thing is, you can't load up during the day with coffee, right? And I'm not a smoker, so I don't know how that's going to affect if that's what you're gonna do or whatever. I don't know anybody else I tell people I do the water fasting, I do the intermittent, and they're like, okay, good for you, yeah, great for you. And I was like, good, but it's working for me physically. It's working.
yeah,
So
yeah. Well, like smoking, that'll kill your hunger like pretty quick.
does it?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then weed amplifies your hunger.
I don't know. Like I like when I was younger, I would partake. Now I just don't. But like,
No, but like the majority of people I know that smoke weed, they're always hungry after they're smoking weed.
Yeah.
Horny or hungry. Those are the two, right?
Or confused.
Or confused. So it's just like I'm neither one of those when I'm smoking a cigar.
But yeah, cigarettes, yeah, it'll like my mom, she was born in Croatia, right? It was like communist country. And like, sometimes, if they didn't have money, my mom would be like, oh, like, can I have some, like, I want to eat something. And my grandmother would just be like, no, just like, it's cheaper to have a cigarette.
To suppress the appetite.
Just to get rid of your appetite.
Wow. It's old school world mentality, man. Wow.
Yeah. But so I think that's where I got that from. Like in the summer, I'll skip out on lunch. Like I have like just a small breakfast, like an egg sandwich with cheese and butter, just like protein and fat, just to, sustain me until whatever. And then just like a nice solid dinner at night, like a lot of protein. And then in the winter, I'll eat a lot more just because, I don't know, just something happens in the winter.
It's the same thing. Why is it in the winter differently?
I don't know. Maybe it's like, maybe just in the summer, I just want to look a little bit better. And like, I just try to cut a little bit. When I started working out, like I started bulking. I think I was like, must have been like 23, 24. Like I got up to 220 pounds. I was thick. Like I felt thick.
How tall are you?
Just over 6.
Yeah.
But like I felt like I was thick, but I felt good. But then when I started like cutting back, I feel a lot better when I'm lighter, man. When I'm like 185 or less, I just feel like more agile. You know what I mean? Like there's like less strain on my legs. Walking on stilts is a bit easier.
Yeah, that's challenging in itself, man.
Yeah, stilts are, like they have like a bunch of new ones out now. I don't know if you've seen them. Like they've got like double pole, like they're made of magnesium, so they're a bit lighter. Yeah. A lot of
where's the strain when you're on stilts? Where's the strain on your body?
Depends how you set it up, because like they've got springs. So if you adjust the springs, you could probably make it a bit easier.
Okay, but are there any pinch points on your body because you're obviously overcompensating somewhere to navigate the stilts, right?
Yeah. So if you got a smaller foot than the foot of the stilt, it's like it's spread more evenly. But if your foot's like over that, you're gonna feel more pressure on a certain part of your foot.
Yeah.
So definitely, like if I spend a full day on stilts, or like even like 3/4 of a day, my feet are just like fried by the end. My lower back too. But the lower back could just be a result of like
your hands up.
You're like bending backwards kind of thing.
But I just always figured that the moment you it was kind of like that festool harness thing where you're trying to hold it a certain way.
Yeah.
You're putting your body in an unnatural position. Even pole sanding, you're putting your body in an unnatural position, the way we were physically designed to move, right?
Yeah.
So when the first thing you do that, it overcompensates on something. So a muscle is being overused incorrectly. So then it's going to affect it, right? And that's where you would know, I guess, right away from the first day you're doing it when you get home, and the pain that you would feel the next day.
Yeah.
That's what you overexerted.
Yeah. When I was younger, it would be like, the next day I would feel it. But now, like I'm 35, it's, like I feel it as soon as I get off. I'm just like, oh man.
Just take the pain, man. That's all.
Dude, it's changed so like from like 30 to 35. Huge difference.
I'm telling you, wait till you hit 40, man. Wait till you hit 50.
Don't
I'm just telling you the truth, and that's why I'm saying I kind of wish I was starting the cold showers like a lot sooner, because then I would have been healing a bunch of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, I definitely encourage people to do that. It ain't the most comfortable at first. You got to work it up. I'm telling you right now, it took me 2-3 weeks to build the resistance for it.
Yeah.
So you're literally freezing, like it's cold.
Did you read Wim Hof? Anything by him?
I haven't read him yet. I want to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I totally believe that guy fucking climbed Everest in his shorts, man.
Yeah.
Like that's insane, man.
Yeah.
But I totally believe that what he's doing is healing the body, right? Mm-hmm. It works.
Yeah. What is it called? Is it Tumo or Tumi yoga? Or it's like a type of like yoga, I guess they call it, where you can like regulate your body. I think it's Tumi or Tumo or
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yoga is nice. I
mean,
it totally works. It's
Have you
hard.
done it?
I've done it.
Yeah.
I cannot get to certain poses, man. I'm not that flexible. I was never been that flexible, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go, but just don't know if I'd fit in.
I mean, it's nice to hear. Like, I've had plenty of trades on the show where like bricklayers and guys talking about how they're yoga instructors. They do all these interesting things outside of construction. And I think a lot of it came from their body starting to wear and tear.
Yeah.
And everyone knows this, man. Our trade, our skill level, it's a perishable item. Mm-hmm. And if you're not cautious of it, you're going to be an old man that's going to have a hard time getting out in and out of a chair.
Yeah.
We don't want to be that way, man.
Yeah.
Like all of us are possibly going to live until our mid to late 80s, barring an accident or something like that, or just a fatal disease or whatever. But you're going to live into your 80s, right? So if you're going to retire by your 60s, you don't want to be walking around with a cane, or you don't have like disability or all kinds of shit like that.
Yeah.
If you take care of your body.
How do you think you're going to go?
Me?
Yeah.
I got my I got my thought process, but it depends on different things in my life, what's going on. But I don't know. I don't think it'll be an illness.
No.
I don't think so. But
something like exciting.
I'm not the one to decide, right? So it's like whenever you talk about planes, every time I get on a plane and I'm going on a trip, I always say to myself, my life is no longer in my hands.
Yeah, it's in autopilot's hands.
It's in someone else's hands.
Yeah.
Right. So I have I cannot dictate what's going to happen to me from this moment on. Mm-hmm. It's in someone else's hands right now. Yeah. But then again, I guess your life in general is that way, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like there's a lot of things you just can't control. I wondered about myself too, but
you're flying planes, man. You're like, that's more risky, no? And you still have the bike?
I sold it.
You sold it?
Yeah, because the insurance was ridiculously expensive for something you ride like 3 months out of the year, you know?
How high was it? Like a few thousand?
It was, it was like.
Didn't it go cheaper when you were 30?
No, actually they raised it. And like, I didn't have anything on my record. I didn't have anything on my record.
I loved, I know. I loved that my bike insurance always dropped every time I hit certain milestones. As soon as I turned 30, it cut in half. 35, it cut in half.
You have the Ducati. It's a cafe racer, right?
Yeah, the Monster,
Yeah.
And it just got cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And I was like, but now it's going to start to swing the other way because as you get older, you're more of a risk.
How do they classify that bike?
That one's stupid thing with the insurance. It's still classified as a super.
Is it?
And I'm like, you guys are idiots, man. They classified as a super.
Is it a 799?
It was a 750.
Yeah.
But then I swapped the engine out 2 years ago. So technically speaking, in the insurance, if they're listening, I'm lying right now. It's a 900. A 900 SS engine went in there.
Yeah.
Care of Carmine there from Psycho.
Shout out to Carmine.
Yeah. So he did it, and he had a pain in the ass doing it, but he figured it out and did it. And I was like, it went from a 5-speed 750 to a 900 6-speed.
Yeah.
Fuck, what a difference, man. Like when I first took off on it, I was like, Carmen, like what's going on here? He goes, I told you.
Flies, eh?
Flies.
Do you wheelie?
No.
Have you?
Have you ever? No, I don't want to, man. I see these guys just rip through the road and I'm like, I don't want to do that shit, man.
Yeah.
I like the idea of just the ride.
Yeah.
That's all I like.
Okay,
right?
but if insurance wasn't listening.
I don't, man. Seriously. I don't. I love open face helmets. I love feeling the air. I love cold riding. I love winter riding.
Oh yeah.
Like I love summer riding too, but I love the feeling of wind against my skin, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I love that. When I was younger, when I first got it, when I was 28 was when I first got my motorcycle license. Full face. I was full face for, I would say, a good 7-8 years.
Yeah, and then you got just the head cover.
I just got the not even a face, whatever, right? And my favorite now is a ruby, right? So full open face ruby, but I've got a shield on it because I do like when you get on the highway, you put a shield on, so then you don't get that.
Yeah,
you gotta wear the chips in the eyes, right? So it's like you're never a good looking guy with an eye patch on a motorcycle, right? So it's like I don't want a chip stone going into my eye, right?
Yeah. Yeah, unless you're Johnny Depp, but
all the shout out to the guys with eye patches.
Yeah,
we all look good one day of the year, Halloween, right? But no, and that's why I was just conscious of the face shield.
Yeah, well, yeah. So like I got rid of mine because it was just like it was almost $4,000 a year on insurance.
Holy,
yeah, it was a lot.
Tickets?
No, just like $4,000 for the insurance for that bike because it's like it was
classified as a super.
Yeah, 750. GSXR.
Unless the rates went through the roof. You got to get older.
Yeah. But then, I don't know. I was like, you know what? I'm doing my pilot training. Like it costs money too. Like,
of course, yeah.
Something's got to give. So got rid of it. I still have another one. I still got a Ninja 500. I got it's carbureted.
Mine is.
Is it?
Yeah.
So you choke it when you start it?
Yeah. Doesn't like the cold.
Yeah.
Just like the Italians. They can't stand the cold.
Yeah.
You always got to rev it.
Yeah.
Got to rev it, warm it up.
Yeah.
It's just part of the game. That's all it is. I mean, I'm envious of all the new monsters that are all fuel injected.
Yeah.
Right. But it's kind of nice that it's carbureted.
Does it run like, is it like smooth if you take it up to a high speed?
It's pretty smooth.
Yeah.
I mean, it's older, man. Like it's the bike. It's a 99.
Mm-hmm.
It's 24 years old, man.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still nice. But I'm very envious about the Newton Norton Commandos. Like, I love the way that bike looks. That's just my style. Like Bonneville, Triumph, Norton Commando, Ducati Monster from the 90s, early 2000s. Like that's my style. No windshield, no fairings, no nothing.
Yeah, I like that.
That's my style, right?
Yeah.
But I don't like any like the Ducati Scrambler. I don't like that bike. That just looks like a mistake or something like that. I don't know what. But I that's the style that I like, man.
Mm-hmm.
Bikes are interesting, right? So
Yeah.
I've never been a big hog guy. Harley.
Yeah, I like choppers. I never like choppers. I think they kind of look silly, just like way up here, you know?
You can't really ride it properly. You can't turn it. You can't park it like without 15,000 turns or whatever. Like, it just don't make any sense, right?
Yeah. I love the cafe racer style. Like, that's what I wanted to do with the 500 because I saw some people convert it into that, like take off some of the fairings and stuff.
That's the problem with a bike. It's a never-ending project.
Yeah.
It's like I put a lot of money into that stupid thing. It's a never-ending project, right?
Yeah, but that's a nice bike.
It's a good bike to do it. It's a good era to do it.
Yeah.
But it's like constantly. Like, it's just, you're like, okay, how much is that? Okay, how much is that?
But it's a Ducati, you know.
Yeah, so you hang on to it. It's nice, man. It's just like that's my first bike.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first thing that I ever bought, like bike-wise.
Yeah.
And I've always had it, right? So
Yeah. Did you buy it new?
it was used, one owner, 3,000 clicks on it. It's basically brand new.
Yeah, that's basically new.
Basically brand new. The guy who bought it, he was like, he wanted something more powerful. So I don't even know what he ended up getting, but he returned it like within 6 months, and then it was on the showroom, and then I saw it, and I like, okay, deposit, took it, done.
Nice.
So it was funny. Recently, I just found some old pictures of it of the first year that I had it, and I was like, it's amazing how much different it looked then than it is now, right? Because now it's all black.
Yeah.
I just wanted it all black.
Yeah.
Simple. I didn't want any decals. I don't want anything on it. Just simple, right? So
yeah, that's the way to go. I think if you start getting it too fancy, it's like, it's not a bike anymore.
Man, we veered off all over the place, Rob.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, what were we talking about? Drywall.
Yeah.
You know, I quickly just tell the listeners about what tools are you using? Like what knives? What knives are you using? What?
The knives are just like, they're just like these no-name knives, to be honest.
That's it?
Can't even show any nice company names. They're just really comfortable. They're light. They're like,
they feather nice. They handle nice.
Yeah, they work well. They just like red and black handle. Machines, I just use Tape Tech. Like, they're old machines, but they run well.
They work.
They work. Like, you just got to swap out the blades and sometimes the wheels or sometimes some of the bearings, but like solid tools. You got a
preference on mud brand or anything like that? No.
Yeah, just CGC.
CGC,
CGC red and machine mud for different applications. What I don't like what they did, and I hope somebody from CGC is listening, is they shrunk the plastic. So when you try to open it, it doesn't want to like
spread open.
Yeah, like the plastic doesn't like want to go over the the flaps of the cardboard.
Seriously?
So you're like stretching it out. It'll go eventually, but it just takes so much longer. So like
they just shrunk the bag size for costs,
or the environment. I don't know. They don't want like turtles snorting plastic. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, so I hope somebody from CGC is listening to that.
CGC, USG or whatever it is.
Yeah, USG. Yeah,
that's it. So they shrunk the plastic.
Shrunk that. Yeah, and one thing I love is FiberFuse. You've probably seen.
Yep.
And you work.
I love it. Yeah, I totally love it.
Like
right.
Easy, like anybody can use that.
You use it all the time for all kinds of joints, or you just using it for specific joints?
Specific stuff, or like because you can like code it right away.
Yeah.
And if something gets missed. It's like, oh, okay, let's like get this quick.
Metal, plastic, corner bead.
I always use metal. I always use steel. I know there's like the argument for vinyl, but like if you're doing a bulkhead, vinyl's like, man, you're never gonna get that straight because you're gluing and stapling, and it's like it's gonna snake around because it's not. Yeah. But like with steel, I can set up my laser and just like
Done.
It's beautiful. Maybe for stand-ups, vinyl works, but you know, I think steel's fine. Like unless like you've seen the videos, right?
Yeah.
Of like smashing it and stuff. But who's doing that?
The same people that are moving furniture and hitting the corner, the reveal
Or
corners or whatever.
just like Trimtex reps rolling into your house.
I don't know. Like I just don't like. I don't like any of that. I'm a steel guy, but then again, I guess when was the last time you did bullnose? Wow.
Yeah. I think there was like one job we did like just like a bulkhead because it was so close to the stairs.
Yeah.
So it's
so
like
it made sense.
It's a nice little thing to have where it's like you're not gonna like crack your head open.
Yeah. So then you've got, I guess, the paper metal bullnose, or you got the Trimtex plastic bullnose, right? But I mean, in all fairness, you got to fill up the back end because if you hit it, it'll depress, right?
Yeah.
And so there's all kinds of stuff. Everybody's like, whatever works for you. That's all I'm just trying to say. Whatever. I've had plenty of drywall guys on the show. It's like whatever works for you. That's it. You're the one that's doing the job, and then you've got your skill test and all kinds of stuff. And it's just like, you don't need to listen to all the haters saying, no, you got to go completely plastic. You got to go completely steel.
Exactly.
Whatever works for you, man.
So whatever works for you. You want a good result at the end. You want the client to be happy. And
that's it.
Yeah.
So, all right, let me do the 12 questions with you. Just want to share Rob Rosati here, RA Rosati Drywall Inc., www.rosatidrywall.com, and then 647-218-1168, rosatidrywall@hotmail.com, and on IG, Rosati Drywall. What is your favorite construction word?
Finished.
What's your least favorite construction word?
Starting.
What turns you on in construction?
Finish paint.
What turns you off in construction?
Stepping over other trades.
Well, they're not supposed to be there when you're there. Technically.
Well, you'd be surprised.
I know. What's your favorite curse word?
It's not politically correct, so I'll just say fuck.
Well, you mean the one that you want to say?
Yeah.
What is it? See you next door or see you next Tuesday?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Sure. Yeah.
I've had Irish people on here and they use it as a period, man. Like it's.
No, that's not that one.
Oh, it's not that one. Okay.
No,
all right.
it's
Sorry.
different.
Never mind. What's your favorite vehicle in the entire world?
Ferrari Testarossa.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then
from
from 84 to 92 is a Testarossa, and then 92 to 96 it was the 512 TR. They just rebranded it. Yeah.
White or red?
Red, man. I know. Miami Vice is white, right?
It's white, but you know what though? The first time I ever saw a Testarossa in black, I just looked at it and I was like, "Fuck, that looks good."
It's sharp, yeah.
Like I get the whole Miami Vice thing, white. I get all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of made sense at that era. And then there's a classic Ferrari red.
Yeah.
But when I saw a Testarossa in black, I
know.
was just like, "Holy shit, that's nice."
You know what, man? Like back 10 years ago, they were going for, you can pick one up for like $80K.
I heard about that.
And now it's like 300.
It's insane. Now they're making resurgence, right? And I'm like it's actually, that car was always nice because that ass on that car was amazing, right?
Yeah.
That just design
It's
and the gill on the side.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about it.
Rear tires.
What's your least favorite vehicle?
Least favorite? Probably just Pontiac. I don't know, Pontiac Aztec, I guess, or fucking PT Cruiser, whatever. You know.
What construction sound or noise do you love?
I knew these questions, but I didn't think of it.
That's fine.
What do I like?
Construction sound or noise do you love?
I don't know, just sanding, I think.
Soothing, huh?
Yeah.
What construction sound or noise do you hate?
Wet saws. Yeah.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt one day?
Oh, you know what it is.
Yeah, totally.
Flying. Piloting.
I wish all the best, man. Seriously. Love to go back up. Not the fucking aerobatic shit.
Yeah, we're going to do that.
I'll throw up, man. I'll throw up. Seriously.
I'm not going to tell you, though.
I'll throw up. Do it. I will throw. I'll have a huge meal. What profession would you not like to do?
What profession would I not like to do? Probably firefighting.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
Last question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Here's your nonna. Here's your dogs. And I mean, hopefully the rest of my family. But yeah, just my nonna mostly.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice, man. Rob, pleasure to have you on the show, man.
Yeah, man.
Finally.
Thanks again.
Good to see you, bro.
It was an honor. And
thanks,
I love talking to you, man. It's always a good talk, you know?
I had a nice, like Earlier this week, it was weird. It caught me off guard. And Daniel from Junk Out, I've known him since my early days, like yourself. I've known a lot of you guys since my early days of construction. He was actually just reaching out just to shoot the shit. He was like, hey, how's it going, right? And we got talking for a little bit. And he's like, listen, we should get together. It's been a while since I've seen you and all this other shit. He goes, like to take you out for lunch or whatever. He goes, I actually like talking to you. And I'm like, yeah. Why are so many people telling me that they like talking to me, man?
No, you're a good guy to talk to, man. No,
Thanks, man.
You got a lot of you got a good worldview. I think you got a lot of experience in different aspects of life. And
thanks, man.
Yeah,
I guess I'm older, wiser, been through, leathered. I'm leathered, right?
Leathered and weathered.
Weathered and leathered, but it's just, it comes with it. But yeah, all kinds of shit's going on, right? So
yeah.
It's just like you just roll with it. That's all it is.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I gotta find what you find up in the skies. That's what I gotta find. That's all it is.
I think you have, man. It seems like I think you found your passion.
I'm comfortable here. I'm totally comfortable here, right? So
yeah.
I like what we're doing, and it's fun, and I enjoy it. I love meeting new people and talking old people and just the industry. That's all it is, man. Simple as that.
It's a great intersection. Like you got media and construction, and it's like
that's it.
Yeah, like since I've known you, that's
those are the two things.
Exactly.
I got a third going on, but we'll see what happens, man. So
yeah.
Thanks, Rob.
Yeah, thanks, Manny.
All right, we're out of here, man. Thanks, Angelina.